Well, hello and welcome, all you wonderful people. If you're catching us on the replay, thank you for doing that. If you're new to us, make sure you like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys are doing great tonight. We won't get too excited until we get some more people in here tonight. I know I'm a couple minutes early, but that's all right. Gives me a chance to get positioned, get caught up. There we go. Pat, how are you? Good to see you. Say evening, Pat. You had a busy day, good day. What's been? Oops. You're doing good. All right, nice. I'm doing pretty good today. It's Friday. I don't have my charger on. So I'm doing pretty good. It's cool weather here, 62 degrees, but it's a cool 62. Very cool 62 degrees. But we're doing all right. We're supposed to be in the 80s on Sunday, and I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to that. I am absolutely looking forward to that. Lawson's in the house. I can't stay long. How are you and your dogs? We're doing all right. Our dog with the heart failure was having some issues today. Her heart was acting up, so we gave her some extra medicine, and it seems to have helped. But her heart was messing up today, and when you have heart failure like I do, the dogs do, a lot of people, you also get a lot of labored breathing, and so you have trouble breathing when your heart's not functioning right. And today, Daisy, the black dog, was going through that for some reason. You never know why, but so we gave her a little bit of extra medicine to help with the heart condition, and I think it's helped her somewhat. But but they're doing all right. So Lawson, thank you for being here. Thank you for the thumbs up. You guys make sure to say hello to each other. So Lawson, why can't you stay very long? Are you going out on a date? You got big plans? What are you doing? It's Friday night. It's Friday night and everything's just all right. Everything's just all right. But other than that, we're doing good. It's been a busy day. Just working around the house, trying to get a little piddly things done. Trying to get organized. I'm trying to make a list of things I need to make sure I take with me to Alabama. When we go for a visit here soon, I got the fishing gear pretty much squared away, so that's done. But it's like, I made a note, make sure I take the tripods for the cameras and the chargers and the iPads and things like that so we can get things done. You got to keep the Chiweenie dog away from your brother's German Shepherd. Your small dog has health issues. Yeah. We know Daisy, the dog with the heart disease or heart failure, she's only 8 years old, going on 9, I guess. And I know that she's probably not going to live a couple more years, but we'll do everything that we can to keep her going. Well, I got to get got to go. Have a great night. Sorry I couldn't stay longer. Appreciate you. Lawson, we appreciate you. And thank you for coming in and saying hi. And thank you for the thumbs up. We appreciate that. So, but yeah, your dog is 7 years old, Pat. Yeah, I think ours are now, I want to say they're 8.5 and 8. But I think she can live a long time. She, the problem with the dogs is, I don't know, it's kind of like, I think they know something's wrong, but they can't control their behavior. It's like, if somebody bangs on the door, even if she's having a bad day, she's going to try to go, versus humans who can go, well, I got to take it a little easy. So we're trying to keep her calmer in general, but it doesn't always work very well. And so today her heart was, she was acting, but Lorelai gave her some extra heart medicine and she seems to be doing a little bit better. So, but we thank everybody for being here. We thank you all for coming in the background there. Say hello. Drop your name, drop a chat, say hello to each other. If you got a YouTube channel, let us know. And we are here to make YouTube great again. That's our new motto on this channel. And back in the year 2024, it was more in 24. And 2025 is let's make YouTube great again. I got to admit, I don't have a plan on how to do it, but it sounded good, right? So, but but we're doing all right otherwise. We just need the weather to change here. Just getting tired of the cool weather, the allergies, all the trees are blooming, the pollen, and I'm already tired of all of that. I'm already over all of the bad weather. I'm over winter, but I was over winter before it started. But yeah, Lorelai's working tonight as always, but I'm working on a list of things we got to take to Alabama. And, like the fishing equipment, the tripod that you guys are on, my portable tripod that mounts to my mobility scooter and can mount anywhere. I've already got a sack of rice, set aside, a bag of rice to take so the dogs and Lorelai have rice to eat. So, we got to make a little bit of we're going to take groceries out of our own house instead of buying them there because we already got them. So we're trying to get a little bit organized. This weekend, we are going to work on the garden. Lorelai has her jalapeno peppers growing, her green beans, her cucumbers, the tomato plant's doing okay. So this weekend, what? This weekend, Lorelai's going to try to plant all of the stuff outside in our outside raised bed. Hang on, I got to send Lorelai a message. All right, sorry everybody. I got something getting my dog to the vet soon. Sometime. Yeah, we have a really good vet. I like our vet. We spend a lot of money on the vets to our dogs. But yeah, you got to keep them in good health if you want to keep them alive and going. But we got our dogs on a diet. We're cooking turkey and rice, and we make them homemade food now. And we're trying to get their weight down because we do think they're a little overweight, like me. The one thing I've done that I think is quite interesting, and when we were just feeding them turkey and rice, we started thinking, we've been doing it a while, that maybe they weren't getting enough nutrition. And before this, we always fed them the Blue brand dog food. It's good dog food, good quality dog food. But so what I've done to try to give them an extra boost of nutrition is I've taken the blue dog food, the hard dog food, and I've ground it up into powder. And so now when we make their chicken, their turkey and rice bowl, I actually put blue powder with it, mix it in with water, make kind of a gravy out of it. So that way I know that they're getting more nutrition than just, a lot of protein. They're getting a little bit more in their diet. Costs a big penny to take. Yeah, it does. I mean, our vet visits, I think they start about $35, just a regular visit. So, yeah, that's just before you get anything else going on. It is a good brand, I think. Our dogs don't mind it, but now they're so spoiled about eating, turkey and other things that they don't really want to eat the dry dog food, but I know it has more nutrition in it. So that's where I powderize it, and I put it in their food and turn it into a little bit of a gravy and kind of sneaking it in there. So that's what we do with that. But yeah, it's good. It works. All right. Lorelai sent me a message there. HTN is in the house saying hello to everybody. Everybody say hello to HTN. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here. How's the weather where you're at? It's a cool day here, It's like if the wind wasn't blowing, it would have been a warm day. But right now, it's kind of a cool day. I didn't think that my brother's dog would eat pickles. I don't think our dogs eat pickles, but they will eat apples and other things like that. Never thought they would eat them? Yeah. So, Henry, we hope everything's going well. What's new in your world? Anything exciting? Are you getting excited about going to the Philippines in October? Let me get set up because my poor old knee here. My knee is malfunctioning. I've had knee replacement surgery. And for some reason, the last few days, the knee that I had replaced is awful tight and feels swollen. HN, not here, getting hotter every day. Yes, that's what we can't wait for. It's supposed to be in the 80s on Sunday. Tomorrow, Saturday, it's supposed to be in the 70s, but it all depends on kind of the wind, how tough the winds are. So, because Lorelai is going to be, we're going to be planting her vegetable garden this weekend. That's in the house. I need to get all these plants in the house transferred out to the garden, out to the raised beds we bought. So we need to get that done. And then, because one, I'm tired of the plants being in the house. But two, we need to get them out there and let them get some real sunlight and some heat. Pat saying hello to Henry. So the other thing I'm doing this weekend is I got to go to Lowe's and buy a couple of 2x4s and buy some Quickcrete and some rabbit wire because we're going to be making an extension on my outdoor patio for my dirty kitchen. So I got to go buy the supplies this weekend, and my buddy's going to come over during the week this next week, and we're going to try to make a new patio, an extension, a 4-foot by 12-foot extension to my dirty kitchen out there. So yeah, I've been, but I have been there before. So it's going to be weird seeing everyone there again. Yeah, it will be. Every time we've been to the Philippines a lot, as you know. And I miss going to the Philippines. We made a lot of mistakes trying to live there. We've talked about, living there again, but we would do things way different. So we've learned a lot about living in the Philippines and being there in general. When you go on vacation in the Philippines, I think it's great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think going to Aruba is great too. going to Hawaii and everywhere else, which we love to do, is great. But I know what you mean. You know, if you have a connection to the Philippines, it's kind of like a nervous energy where you feel like you're coming home, but it's not your home, but you kind of feel like it is. So you know, it can be quite interesting. Ah, the Gabe is in the house. Everybody said hello to Gabe. Gabe is saying hello to Pat and Tim. So now you haven't, Henry, you haven't been in the Philippines in what, 15, 20 years, something like that? So it's going to be way different than you remember. I mean, way different. It's way more Americanized now than it's ever been. It just is. The people are more like Americans now. The kids are more like American kids. So it has lost, I believe, some of its charm, but, you know, it's still there and it's still good. Oh, HTN is also known as Henry. Gabe, HTN. Yeah, Pat hasn't been there in what, 15? No, you were there a couple years ago, but you could see the difference between the first time and the second time, right? So, not since the 80s, right. No, my wife is working, Gabe. She's at her job working. Yep, a lot of new things going on. You could just call him HTN. You know, it's easier, HTN. Yes, I have. Oh, man. So, you know, not the 80s for me. Yeah. Well, it's only been about 3 years since we were there. But I think one thing you have to do when you go to the Philippines or go anywhere is you have to lower your expectations. You got to put on your patience face. You got to have patience. It's never going to be what you think it's going to be. I mean, just look at all the expats that we know that live there that are miserable. All the expats that have lived there that don't live there now. So, but I think it's you know, I don't know if we would ever live there again or not, but we would definitely go back for vacations. Gabe says, I'm kind of bored. Well, then, Gabe, if you're bored, why don't you get yourself into trouble? That's what I recommend. When I get bored, I cause trouble. I was there in 2005, 2006, married 2 years, divorced, back to the Philippines, 2016 and 17. Gabe doesn't want to get in trouble. Well, I don't know, Gabe. There's nothing wrong with getting in trouble, Gabe. Trust me, or causing trouble. Hang on, I gotta fix my seat. My knee's acting up. So, Gabe, that's what I recommend, you know. You don't want to get hit with the belt because it hurts? Well, geez. Take the easy way out then, why don't you? Was there in the Philippines last year? That's right, I remember that. Real bad, hurts real bad? Yeah. Well, Gabe, it only hurts if you believe it hurts. If you can believe that it does not hurt, then it will not hurt. Trust me on this one. No, my wife is at work. So she won't get home for another 5 or 6 hours. She's at work. Pat's going to go back next year in 2026. Well, Henry's going to go, I think, in late October, he said. So sometime in October is what he's planning on. The game, tomorrow. Maybe. We might do a live stream tomorrow where she's on. Yeah. Yeah, more than likely, we're talking about it. We haven't decided when we're going to do it, Gabe. But Lorelai's home on the weekends, so, and we got a bunch to do this weekend. We got to go to Lowe's and do some gardening and stuff. So she might, she might surprise everybody and do a live stream. What is it, Gabe? You don't like looking at me anymore? You know, you're making me feel bad, Gabe. Well, thank you. Thank you. I like my shirt too. The shirt's better than yours? Well, you know, Gabe, what I'll tell you is you need to figure out what your style is, right? How do you want to, what makes you happy the way you dress? Oh, you haven't seen her yet? Well, if you go on to my YouTube channel, you can see her. She's in the video about, she's in a lot of videos. But, I mean, I need to, how do I send, here it is. My wife is sending me a message. Pat says, I need to get my tropical shirts for the Philippines and shorts, blue jeans, Levi jeans, and a hat. A few things why are you taking jeans to the Philippines? That's one thing I wouldn't do is take jeans to the Philippines. Man, you're talking about sweating your balls off. Man, you don't, woo-wee. I never even wore, I had one pair of what I buy for the Philippines pants-wise. If you go to Walmart, Walmart carries Wrangler brand pants, and these pants breathe really well. They have a little give to them. They're not thick, but they look nice. You might want to look at that way before you decide to go wear jeans to the Philippines. Soul Lenders in the house. I'm going to check real quick. All right, check real quick. Soul Lender, thank you for being here. Hope you can make it possible. This guy, Soul Lender, Good Buddy Systems out there sitting. When are you doing you're doing a TikTok thing, are you? Okay. It's hard to get pants to fit me. It's all big and tall. Yes. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're going to buy pants in the Philippines to bring home because it's a smaller cut there. I got you. I got you. Why the first YouTube short I went to, I saw a frog attacking a phone. It's a good video though, right? I get cold easy. All right, I got you. I just plan on looking like a bum. That way people won't come up to me and ask me for money. That's it. Pat says, right, Gabe is asking, is TikTok is good? Good evening from Tim. Tim's in the house saying hello to me and everybody else. Say hello to each other. Pat says hello to you, Soul Linda. Pat says, yeah. So I got you. I know what you mean now. And that I don't blame you. I don't blame you. If you're a smaller stature, then getting clothes from the Philippines is not a bad thing. It's cheaper and it probably fits you better. So, but yeah, wearing jeans in the Philippines, you know, whew. Yeah, Tim's right, Henry. Tim is saying they're still going to ask you for money no matter what you look like. And one thing we all know, Tim and Henry and everybody, is that's just part of the game about being in the Philippines. It's kind of like paying the skin tax, having the beggars asking you for money. You know it's going to happen. Prepare yourself, don't stress over it, and then you'll be fine. Yeah, you're a small frame guy. Hard to find, so yeah. So Pat, I agree with you there. Yeah, some things never change, and that's one of them, you know. But, you know, a lot of people think that's kind of part of the charm of the Philippines. I don't know if it's charming or not, but yeah, some things never change, right? Whether it's a good part of the culture or a bad part of the culture, who knows? It is what it is. So I don't like it, but it is what it is when I go there. But you can also just kind of brush it off. And remember, the number one thing I tell you guys all when you go to the Philippines, especially if you're dating a Filipina, what are the two most important words to be spoken in the Philippines or when you're dating or married to a Filipina? There's two words that everybody needs to understand and become and have it at the tip of your tongue when you're married, dating, living, or visiting the Philippines. Well, that's what I did, HTN. I had people ask me for money, and I said, well, give me some money, and I'll give you some money. And, they no, well, why don't you give me some money, and I'll give you some money back. That's what I did. But there's two words that's very important. Pat, what size shoes do you wear, Pat? 8.5s? I wear 11.5s. Not that anybody cares, but I wear 11.5 shoes. Wide. I like wide, but But two words are most important to know. No budget. No budget. Don't try to explain, no, I don't have any money. No, I'm using my money for this. Simply just say no budget. Pat says, I need to get some pants. When he goes back to the Philippines, he's going to buy some pants. But I don't blame you for that, Pat. That makes good sense. And, and clothes are pretty cheap there in the Philippines. I don't know how good of a quality they are, but, we'll have to see how it does. But yeah, I think you should. If you need to stock up on some things, I can't buy clothes in the Philippines. I buy clothes as souvenirs. But yeah. Ian, living in the Philippines, is in the house. Everybody say hello to him. Thank you for coming in. How are you? What is going on in your world, Ian? I wear size 10.5. It's difficult to find my shoe size. Okay. They are cheap. They are. Yeah. Sorry, my mom needed my help with something. Well, Gabe, it's very important to help your mama. It's damn hot here. Oh, what do you mean? Hi, Ian. Hi, Tim from the Gabe. Well, I think it's funny because it's cold here. So I don't feel bad for you guys. No cussing. Did somebody cuss? Who cussed? Uh-oh, Gabe. Tim is saying, hello, Gabe. It's warm there. It was in the 60s today, windy, so it's kind of cool. But, oh, I did? Well, I meant the thing that holds back water, Gabe. A dam is something that holds back water at reservoirs. That's what I was meaning. So, yeah, one thing we did in preparation for living in the Philippines, me being a fat old guy, I bought a lot of extra clothes, and we have boxes of. I don't need to buy. I don't need to buy another piece of clothing for the rest of my life. I have so many shorts and shirts and pants, good pants, ones that dry quickly. And I don't need anything. Lorelai keeps wanting to buy me stuff, and I'm like, you keep forgetting. We got two big old boxes full of clothing for me. that I haven't even seen in years. It feels like 94 degrees. Okay, that's, a little warm for this early in the morning. Well, there's Nisha. Everybody say hello to Nisha. Nisha, how are you? If Lorelai was here, she would say hello to you, Nisha, but she's at work. If hot in our house, 'cause I'm here. Oh, you're being funny, Gabe. Pat saying hello to Ian, sorry. Gabe, how are you? Nisha, hello, Gabe. All everybody's good. Everybody giving us a thumbs up. Is dropping at the game. I give you some examples of really bad words. Uh oh. Hey, Pat from Ian. Hey, Pat. Everybody saying hello, nice. No, don't. 8 a.m. Yes, I know, Tim. It's crazy, right? But as you guys all know, I love the heat, so I'm all right with it. Nisha saying hello to everybody. How are things for you, Nisha? We haven't talked to you in a little bit. How are your grades? How are things going in school? Cussing's real bad? Yes, that's a no-no for you. Good to see you, Nisha. I like the cold, the warm. Nisha says hello to everybody. Hot is the way to hit. Hot. Okay. I don't know that cussing was bad. Henry HTN didn't know that cussing was bad, Gabe. He didn't know that. Wow. Autocorrecting. It's all right, Gabe. Ian, so besides being hot, what's going on in the world? We went out for an Indian meal yesterday, first time in 6 years. Well, I like Indian food and Pakistani food. I have Pakistani friends in the Philippines, so we ate Indian food pretty often because they would make it for homemade. But I like Indian food. Gabe, things are going good, just a bit busy with studies. Okay, Nisha, good. We're glad you're doing well, though. You're doing well, right? All right. It was 107 yesterday. Really, Tim? What's going on with the volcano eruption? Any news on that? Well, Gabe, my goodness, Gabe, you're an honorary young person. The only bad words Gabe says is "shut up," man. Gabe, you're mean. Wow, Gabe. Yeah, 107's hot. Hey, Tim, the volcano, yes. Hello to everybody. What? I mean, yeah. So I haven't looked at the news, but I guess, is it still spewing, the volcano? Maybe the volcano's making the air temperature hotter. Maybe it's throwing lava up and it's causing things to be hot. But 107's hot, even for the Philippines. Are you guys in a, what do we call that? An El Nino or Lina or whatever? Is the Philippines in one of those cycles, Tim? Ian? Ian's living in the Philippines. No, it's because I am here. Okay. Oh, man, I know, Pat's on you, Gabe. Games in formal worlds are getting more older. She gets, I agree. Yeah, Nisha, so how are things going? How's Lorelai? Lorelai's doing good. She's working, slaving away, trying to make money so I can buy stuff. What par? So Lorelai's doing good, Nisha. She is. She misses you. We talk about you once in a while. I know the air quality index is very high for you. Okay. Happy Airplane is back. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for coming back. Gabe says, Pat. I am happy. Hi, happy to you. Everybody say hi to each other. If you didn't give us a thumbs up, please do that. So, yeah. But Lorelai's doing good. She's off the next couple of days. She's going to do her garden. She's going to make some video about gardening because, all of her plants and stuff. So she's excited about all of that, Nisha. Who was arrested in the Philippines? Yeah, I think I I keep telling you guys, I need better glasses, but I'm too cheap to go buy glasses. You know, I got to get closer to the screen to be able to read. Wait a minute, so if be bad in the chat, I can get muted? Yes. Ah, we can put you in timeout, my friend. I feel intimidated. Pat says, got respect, Gabe. You'll be fine. We all like you, Gabe. It's all right, Gabe. It was a Russian guy. Henry, let me see. I know James sent me, and I watched the videos. Apparently, I don't know. His name was Vitality. I think he's a Russian national. He's apparently like that Johnny Somalia guy who ran around to different countries acting like an idiot and doing bad things. And I guess he'd been getting away with it. But in the Philippines, he got arrested and he's going to be deported, but they're going to make him do jail time to finish out his sentence or whatever before they ship him back to Russia or wherever he's going. Yeah, Vitality, yep. How many glasses have you bought through your life? Too many to think of, buddy. Let me tell you. Probably 10 different pairs. Maybe 20. Tim's right. The jerk deserves everything he gets. I agree. So, yeah, he's a Russian nationalist. And I guess he was runner. What I don't like, I'll tell you guys, and he's lucky, to be honest, that he didn't get hurt in the Philippines or wherever. Gabe says, my mom and dad bought a 7 or 6 or 5 for me. Okay. He's an American Russian, is he? Well, we don't want to claim him. I don't count. Who's arrested? Somebody who behaved badly in the Philippines. So a young man thought it was funny to run around and make fun of people, to scare people, to take things that wasn't his, things like that. Yep, another Johnny Somalia wannabe. Well, and they're going to learn the hard way. How come I talk to the most? I don't know how come you talk the most. Now I hear, Pat says, if you mess up too much, they will cut your hands and legs. Oh my goodness, prison drinking. Well, I don't know about that, Pat. But what I do know is, from what I saw today, I guess, he still thinks it's funny. But when he gets inside of a Philippine prison, he's not going to think it's funny anymore. When did you first see your vision was getting bad? And probably 15 years ago. Yeah. So, and that's kind of the problem. There is no speedy trials in the Philippines, right? So he's going to be detained in custody for 2 years, and then he'll probably get sentenced. And he should. What I don't like, I get playing, having a good time. I get that. I really do. Enjoying things. But what I don't like is when you disrespect temples, statues, and places. I don't like that. I don't like when people disrespect those. The other thing I don't like is when they come up to unexpecting people pulling pranks on them. Because, as you guys all know, in America, you could be shot for some of the stuff that he's done in the Philippines. Somebody might just, in Texas especially, might just boom, and he's done. So I don't like it when people pick on innocent people who's sitting there minding their own business. That really bothers me. Pat is seeing a lot of things going on in the Philippines. Oh, absolutely. He has 4 cases against him, minimum of 5 years each. Nice. 5 is a lot, times 4, 20 years. Pat says, right, that's true. So what's the worst thing he has done, or you cannot say? Well, I don't know if, I think it's criminal mischief. Ian, can you answer Gabe's question? What do you think is the worst thing that he's done? Is there anything, was it the theft? Because it looked like to me from watching some of the stuff that they were taking him in for theft. I don't know if they were taking him for physical violence towards others. So, what it is just some young person who thinks it's okay or thinks they're going to become famous because they are being a jerk. And I think when you're that away, then you get what you deserve. So I'm okay with this. Like Johnny Smollett, I'm okay with him being in prison for the rest of his life. I did videos on that guy that was murdered a while back in the Philippines. Hate to say it, but you got yourself into these situations. So when you get your own self by your own doing into bad situations, then nobody should feel sorry for you. That's on you. There's a difference between somebody like him who's doing this stupid stuff to get attention intentionally, and somebody that screws up and goes, "Oh, I didn't know," which is really not a good excuse, but I didn't know that this was a sacred spot that we weren't supposed to sit at. That's a different thing when somebody is somewhere and they don't understand versus they're going to do stupid stuff and make fun of people and or things. So he stole a police motorcycle. All right. Well, that will do it. I remember when I was not born, my mom told me that she used to have an abusive husband. She divorced him. And I got 2 stepbrothers. And that same guy tried to ask my mom to help get him out of jail. Uh-oh. He attempted to steal a sidearm. Jeez. That's really bad. He's lucky he didn't get shot, guys. I mean, I know the Philippines is pretty passive, but he's lucky he didn't. Well, the other thing, and you guys that are living there know now, and Pat, everybody's that been in the Philippines, you guys all know that when you're a foreign national in another country, you need to watch yourself. Because it's me, the bad foreigner, against a whole bunch of other people. So he's lucky that he's going to get to go to jail, that his family's not burying him. Because I think he got like 2 or 1.5 years in prison. Okay, Gabe. Sidearm is a weapon. A poo-poo, boom. Pat says crazy. The poo-poo kind of not dump, yes. Because I know other expats gave the security guard his gun. That's right. Henry says, I'll be right back. So I know an expat personally was in the Philippines. He couldn't control his alcohol consumption. He got himself in a place where he shouldn't be, and he found himself beaten unbelievably bad, laying in the gutter the next morning. And apparently he ran his mouth a little too much, right? And what you have to understand is a lot of times in America, we like to fight one-on-one. But that's not the case in the Philippines. It may be the expat versus 10 other Filipinos. So it's not, they're not going to fight you one-on-one, fair to fair, or what we think is fair. Yep, well, I got to go. Have a great day. Thank you, Gabe. We will. Take care. Be good, and make sure you take care of your mama. Take care from Tim, and come back anytime, Gabe. That's right. So, you got to kind of realize the mentality of where you're at. You know, American men like to square up, and they don't mind going mano mano. But a lot of people don't do that. You know, especially to somebody that, and I know maybe this sounds bad, but especially to somebody that looks like a foreigner. And it's obviously, if I'm a big white guy in the Philippines, I'm not a Filipino. So it's going to be Filipino pride against the invader. Now, the problem in America, why it doesn't happen, is because America is so diverse, we don't know who's an American and who's not an American. Now, if you run your mouth and talk about how you're not an American, then that's a different story. But we don't know by looking who you are, where you're from. We don't know. But a white boy stands out in an Asian country, just the way it is. So, so I'm a big supporter of locals not putting up with bad things that foreigners do. Now, I don't like the other side of the coin where we talk about the foreigners take advantage of the expats, but it happens. So there's good and bad. Just good and bad, right? You got to take the good with the bad, but you got to realize no matter where you go, you need to understand how things are done in that part of the world. Even if you live in America, you need to understand how things are done in America. If I go to Texas, Texas is a little bit different than my state. If I go to California, it's way different than my state. You know, in California, I may need to wear a dress and call myself an it, but in Texas, I may need to carry my gun. So, you know what I mean? Well, that's a good way to say it, Tim. Locals don't want to be disrespected, just like we don't want to be disrespected here. I was on another channel last month, and some American guy, wife, Filipino man messing with the guy's wife. Filipino got his head knocked off in a fight. Yeah. Well, it does, you know, and I think the Philippines is like any country. We've been to a lot of different countries, not that many, but we've been to a lot. We've traveled a lot. And temperatures rise and people get offended easily. But I think if you try to show everybody respect, then you don't have any problems. It's when the disrespect starts to flare up is when all the problems come. And now, when you're talking about guys who wants to flirt with another woman and that woman's married, there's one, the guy is being disrespectful to the husband and to the wife. So you need to have respect for people to get along in the world. You just do. If you want to be happy, you need to figure out how to get along in life. And one of the ways to get along in life is just to be respectful of everything and everybody. Just like you want yourself to be respected. So that's what I think. I think, and I know maybe this sounds a little bad of me, but I do believe that a lot of foreign nationals that go to the Philippines, not only Americans, Australians, Germans, Korean men, the Chinese men, they all look at the Philippines as a third world country that's beneath them. A lot of these guys can't control their behavior because they don't have the same respect for the Philippines as they have for their own country. They look at the Filipino women as being cheap and easy. So I can treat them worse than what I would treat an American woman. I can treat everybody worse because I have money and I'm white. I think that, or Koreans, when I was in the Philippines, the Koreans are really bad about that too. The Koreans are not super friendly of the Philippine people. So the Korean men, it's kind of like, and some of you Americans will get this analogy. Americans used to go to Tijuana, right? You guys all know what Tijuana, Mexico is. The Koreans see the Philippines as our Tijuana. When I'm in the Philippines, I mind my own business and stay safe, yep. Thank you, Ian, thank you for that, thank you for that. So, but that's what happens, and I know it. I know it. I know they look down, and they go there because they feel superior. And I know I've gotten a lot of crap talking about all the alcoholics in the Philippines. You know, a lot of the expats go there because they can't function in their own countries. And I know there's a lot of guys like Tim that don't do that. I know there's a lot, and Ian doesn't do that. There's a lot of them out there that don't. But there's a lot of these guys that escape their own misery in their own home countries, and they go and find Thailand or the Philippines or Malaysia to go live and feel better about themselves. So, and I know they do that because I've talked to them about it. I know guys that do that. I know this is what they're thinking. I know it, I know it, I know it, I know it without a doubt. That they think they can go over there and be a big dog in a little pond because of where they come from. Because where they come from, they're a speck of dust in a vacuum cleaner. They're nothing. Nobody wants them in America. You know, their families don't want them. We don't want to put up with your drunken ass. You know what I mean? Ian says, from my experience of living in Asia since 2007, in my opinion, it's hard for many Americans to adapt to the life in the Philippines. Yes, adapting to the culture. I agree. We lived in the Philippines for a year, and it was very difficult for us. And we own land and stuff in the Philippines, and someday we may move back there. But one of the things that was the most difficult for me, and I honestly say this, it was too boring. I'm not an alcoholic. I found the Philippines very, very boring because once you do things, you've done them. That's how I am. There wasn't enough to keep my interest peaked in things. It's too boring. I couldn't get anything done. I couldn't be a productive member of their society. I had to sit and let everybody around me do things while I sit and do nothing. My personality, that's no bueno, no good with my personality. HDN says, I'm back. Pat says, me too. Tim says, did you know that if an American throws the first punch, they can be deported and blocked from Yes, I know that. They sure can. They can be blacklisted. That's correct. And so for me, living in the Philippines, I was bored stiff. And I've told everybody this. My wife and I made the big mistake. We should have went there and bought a resort. We should have bought something, a business that she could, not a sorry store, but a real business like a resort. We should have lived in the resort. I could piddle around doing stuff in my resort, have something to do, projects to manage, and then my wife could run the business, right? We would have been happier to do that. But it didn't work out for us. Plus Typhoon Odette hit and wiped us out, literally. Odette. Pat says, I drink 2 beers, 1 small cup of bourbon, Jack Daniels. That's a little drinks, that is. Don't drink a lot, yeah. That's the problem, Tim. An expat should never get into a situation, that's right, where they need to be fighting at all. Very well said. I think, to be honest, unless you're just being a dick, it's really hard to get, or you're in a place you shouldn't be. I mean, when I'm there, I can never see a situation where I would get in a fist fight with anybody, unless there's another American. All the times I've been in the Philippines and we've been there, it's never once dawned on me to fight with anybody in the Philippines. It just hasn't. I mean, you would have to work extremely hard to get in a fight with the Filipinos. You just would. Not too much, not too much of you. Tim says, yep, very true. Got to watch your heart. Yes, you got to watch your heart condition. So, if you're an expat and you're in a situation where you got to that's really weird. I just never came across, I don't know. That would be, to me, it's either you're drunk or you're on drugs and you can't control your behavior, or I don't know. I can't see it. Now, I mean, I could see it if you had children in the Philippines and maybe one of the men were messing with your kids. Yeah, oh, okay. But just on a day-to-day basis, even at the grocery stores, at the malls where it's packed and everybody's crazy, compared to America, I just don't see how you would get in a combat situation like that. Gambling and alcohol, yes, yeah, okay, all right. Pat says, yep, you're right. So, I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see the women getting mad at each other. Now, I see the women getting mad at their husbands a lot, or their boyfriends. But, it's a peaceful climate. And as long as you don't make it not peaceful, then you shouldn't have any problems. Well, there's Craig Parrish. Craig, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Craig, where you been, buddy? We've missed you the last few weeks. I hope you're feeling good. Are you feeling okay? I know. How are you feeling, Craig? Are you doing okay? I've been living here for 5 years and haven't seen one single fight. Maybe because there's no expats here. That's it. And that's what I mean. The only people that irritated me in the Philippines was the expats. I didn't want to be around the damn expats. I've seen fist fights in the Philippines last year. It wasn't pretty to stay out of it. Okay. Tim is saying hello to Craig. Everybody say hello to Craig. So Craig, our good friend from the land down under. So, yeah, I don't know. It just, I mean, I know this sounds really bad, I guess, but when we go to the Philippines, I don't want to hang out with other expats, right? I don't mind a little bit of it, but I didn't go there to hang out with expats, you know what I mean, or other Americans. I didn't do that. Now, I hang out with other expats from other countries because that's okay, because then I'm learning and growing. But to hang out with a bunch of idiot Americans, I don't want to do. If you're a good American, okay. Been busy, lots of going on here. I'm fine, thanks. All right, Craig, good, good. That's good, Pat and Craig. And he's saying the same thing, right? You don't want to hang out with people from your own country. If you wanted to do that, well, just stay in your own country. And I don't want to do that. I had expats wanting to chat me up, and I'm just like, look, man, I ain't got time. One, I think you're probably a drunk, and you're going to hit me up for money later. I don't want to be your buddy. I don't want to go and drink with you, because I don't do that. So I don't have a need. I had friends from other countries, but not America, in the Philippines. That's the funny thing, is I have some really good friends that live in the Philippines who are not Filipino, but they're not Americans. That's the difference. So I got a really good, a couple Pakistani friends that are really nice and really great friends. Somebody from Korea that I met, became really good friends with over there. But the Americans, I didn't want anything to do with. I've rarely seen expats, only when I go to the VFW for a meal. All right. Yeah, I will say this, everybody. I didn't have, and I don't have in the Philippines. I have a few of them here, but I didn't have any Filipina men friends in the Philippines. I've thought about this. I try to think about things. I try to analyze things, and I've asked questions. And I think what my wife and others and their wives said, because I would ask, well, gee, your husband don't seem to care for me because I'm trying to have a conversation and they're like, well, he's scared of you. I'm like, scared of me? Why would he be scared of me? Like, well, one, I'm so big, I guess. But two, their English skills, they're afraid they couldn't keep up with the conversation. And and I know this sounds really bad of me to say, but I was also told that I was too smart. They're intimidated by my academic background and where I come from. And so I would try to dummy it down, but I really didn't make any friends, male friends in the Philippines that are Filipino. Really didn't. And of course, I don't befriend women in the Philippines because I'm married, except for, like my wife's best friend and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm friendly to everybody, but I don't do a relationship. I just don't. I made friends with a guy from Japan, but who's married to a Filipino and been there all his life, but he really wasn't a Filipino. But he spoke perfect English, was highly educated in Japan, blah, 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 blah. So I had that difficulty. Now that I look back upon that, a lot of the men that are hanging out with my wife's friend, their husbands and boyfriends, I was told that I intimidate them. So I don't know what to do about that. But I didn't want to go hang out with Americans, that's for damn sure. And maybe it's because I ask too many questions. Because I am somebody that asks a lot of questions. And I mean a lot of questions. One of my wife's best friends, he crashed his motorcycle one day, right? And he's a security guard. He's a really nice guy. He's a trustworthy guy. And I would consider him a friend. But he doesn't like to dialogue with me because of the language difference. But he crashed his motorcycle one day and he brought it over to where we were living. They were hanging out with us for the weekend or whatever. And he was changing some parts out. So, and I know a tiny bit about motorcycles. So I wanted to engage. Hey, so, this is really cool, man. I didn't know you could just take off this and put this on that. And I got the phone out and I was Googling things and showing them. And I could tell, I was either going too fast or making things way more complicated than they had to be, or something. But a lot of it was I could tell that I was making him really nervous by asking him questions about the motorcycle and about parts and why would you do this versus that, and could you do this and could you do that, and I don't know if it felt like I was challenging him, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's wrong, Dave. I just sit there and wait until they ask me something, and then when we start an interest, I tried to do the same. I tried to do the same. But for some reason, a lot of the Filipino men that I ran into, my wife's friends, even my brother-in-law, wouldn't, they wouldn't start a conversation. They wouldn't do it. They would ask Lorelai to ask me, and I'm like, well, this is frustrating, If I meet met disabled, expect good guy, I'm okay. And hang out with others, not for sure about it. Okay, Pat. So yeah, I would try to sit there, but I would wind up sitting there like a bump on a log, Ian. I really would. We would be at a party or event or out at the beach, and I literally would sit there like a bump on a log because people wouldn't come up to me. Maybe because I look mean. You know, my wife says I'm intimidating looking, that I scare people with my looks. Well, and Tim, and that's kind of where I was going with that. It was never my intention to make them look or feel dumb. But from listening to my wife and stuff, by asking questions, I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm challenging them, right? But I'm just curious. You know, I'm highly a curious human being. So I think that was part of the problem. I go, why? You know, I like to ask why a lot. Why do we do this? Why do you do that? Why can't we do this? Well, you know, have you thought about, you know, I like that. But I don't think it works in the Philippine culture, Tim. So I think you're right. Deep down, they resent foreigners, Craig says. I agree with what everybody's saying. Good. Well, they may. Craig, let me ask this. Why do you think they resent foreigners? Is it because we're marrying their women and taking them away? Is it because we're better looking? Woo-hoo. Is it because they think we have a lot of money and they don't and we rub it in their face? Why would they resent foreigners? Is kind of what, because we can't take their jobs because we can't work in the Philippines. But Tim, I agree with you, and I'm back on that I think I unintentionally make people feel dumb in the Philippines. And I didn't mean to do that, but I think that's what I do. Ian says, I'm kind of a joker, so I make jokes and get friendly atmosphere. Always ask to get back to them. Okay. Sancho's in the house. Hello. Les, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up. Everybody say hello. So Sancho, thank you for being here. My voice is a little scratchy tonight because of the allergies in the air. So forgive me for that, but thank you for coming in. Thank you for subscribing to everybody's channel and supporting everybody. Remember, if you're blue, you can drop a link to your channel without asking me. So if you want to share something, just share it. Being with their women and money. Okay, that's kind of what I thought where you were going. Pat saying hello. Tim saying hello. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Les, if you got a comment or a thought or a question. Pat saying hello to you, Craig. And so, Ian, you're probably right. My personality, and I do this in America too, though. I'm a very inquisitive, logical-minded person. And I drill down. I like to drill down on topics. I like to understand things. I like to ask questions. And in America, a lot of people don't seem to mind. But I do find that even when I travel to other countries, they don't like it. They don't like me asking questions. They don't mind if I ask for help. Hey, can you tell me where the CR is? Oh, well, that's different. But if I'm going to say, well, why are you wearing those type of boots when you ride your motorcycle? They don't like any of that or whatever. Well, it says, I can answer that question because they don't want to deal with the nosebleed. That means they are afraid they won't keep up with your conversation. And I agree with that. I agree totally 100% with you. A lot of them speak good English, but it's not as fluent as us, of course, right? And so they can't keep up. My brother-in-law is really bad about that. He didn't make it all the way through school. He's always done manual labor stuff in the Philippines, and his English is small. And I worked really hard to try to, but he was just so scared of speaking English that he just would clam up on me. I'm like, oh, shit. But the kids all speak really good English, so I could have conversations with kids, but I don't want to have conversations with little kids. I don't like that. I don't want to do that. That's creepy, and I don't like it. But I agree with you on the fact that I think they're, and maybe that's where Ian's really good about being jovial, about making jokes and making lightheartedness and things like that. But you also got to be aware a lot of times they don't get our jokes. My wife told me that a lot. She said, you know, they're not getting your joke, right? It just went, psh. I'm like, oh, all right. Same here, Pastor. Craig's dropping a link there for you guys to check out. I will give you a tip. Approach them, ask them a simple question, yes, so they will get used to talking to you. And that's what I would do. Because, and I learned that years ago, because I'm a retired college professor. And one thing I've did over the years is I had many, many, many international students, not only in my classes, but that worked in my laboratories. And that's something that I learned dealing with international students early on. Simple questions. Give them a chance to respond and build upon that. So it's a great tip for people to do. But if they're around you a lot, like a brother-in-law, right? How much deeper can they go? You know what I mean? The conversation's going to run short because how do you make this further? Filipino people don't feel comfortable speaking English with me. They're too afraid to make, that's correct. They're making a mistake and they're worried about that. Right. And I agree. You got to do that. You got to disarm them when you're in the Philippines. And granted, I'm going to tell you, I'm probably not the greatest person at that, at doing that, but I recognize that you have to do that in a lot of situations. Like even in the service industry, in America, in Aruba, Mexico, wherever you're going to go, if you want things to go your way, a big smile and being kind and gentle goes a long ways. And what I would try to do is, as an example, my wife and her sister would be arguing with the brother-in-law. And I would stand up for the brother-in-law and tell my wife, stop. He knows what he's doing. Just leave him alone. So, but I agree with you. If you can do that, you gotta, sometimes, I agree, the psychology between, is making people feel good about themselves, how to win friends and influence people, is you make them feel good about themselves. That's what you do. And I would try to do that, but that only goes so far. It takes time sometimes to create a true friendship with them, evaluate all your actions. I think, yeah, I agree. I have to ask questions when I'm in the Philippines. Last time, almost got lost at the airport. Oh no. Sometimes hard to understand the Philippine language. It is, but here's my number one tip for getting an answer about a question in the Philippines. Ask 3 different people. And if you get 3 different answers, ask 4 people until you get at least 2 of the same answer. Then go do that. But they are intimidated, and I get that. So I try to build people up by making them an expert. It's like with a brother-in-law. Like, look, he's driving. He knows where he's going. Stop. You girls, stop what you're doing, Leave him alone. Bad airports are designed for people to get lost in and spend money in. Yeah, the new Mactan airport, now we haven't been there in a couple years, but we saw the videos where, man, they've done all kinds of cool, crazy stuff in that airport. Stores and restaurants and coffee places and all kinds of things now. But I have a couple of really good Filipino friends, but they live here in America. And, but I know that I have to be careful even with him, even though he's known me 12 years. When they immigrated to America, they worked at the same place my wife did, him and his dad. They came over, and we met them through my wife at her job. They didn't have a car, and so this is their very first winter here. So I would run them back and forth to work a lot because they all worked together. I'd pick them up. I didn't mind, not a big deal. I got to take the wife anyway. So over the time, we became really good friends. But I know that I still even got to be careful with him because they're gentler. I know this is kind of a weird way to say it, but I think, I hate to say that Filipino men aren't tough because I think that's inaccurate. I just think they're softer than American men. You know what I mean? I don't know how to equate that to words that aren't offensive, but I don't think Filipino men right off the bat are macho. They may be tough guys, but they're not macho. American men, we're a little bit more aggressive and stern and hardier. Mactan is a great airport where Clark is even better. Haven't been to the new Clark yet, but I look forward to it someday. The big white horse is in the house saying hello to everybody. I've been through too much bad luck to rub any bad luck on my Filipino friends. There you go. Les says, yes. So you guys, what I mean, they're more timid. Maybe the word is timid. And I know that I got to be careful, even with this guy that I trust totally. And him and I, and he knows that I have his back 1,000%. He knows that I'm the one American, even though he's an American citizen now, that he could truly count on. But I do recognize that I can't be the stern, strong me, or I intimidate him. Do you know the word used in Clark and Mactan airports was, oh, the wood was from Australia? I don't doubt it. It's beautiful wood. It's beautiful. I said, oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. See, we're learning something. Did everybody say hello to the big white horse? So I actually consider myself, I only have one male Filipino friend. Now, I will tell you this. I don't consider very many of the husbands of Filipinos around me friends at all. I don't like them. I don't like most of the guys that are married to Filipinas here. Don't like them. You know, a lot of them are drunks, and I don't drink, you know, but very little. You know what I mean? So there's not a connection there. Did not know that, Tim. Hello, big white horse. Thank you. Hello, everybody, Tim. Not Australia. Oh, Austria. Sorry. I didn't know that. Now, Australia makes more sense, but I didn't know it came from Austria. Really? Do you know which type of wood, what tree? What tree it is? Because that's more interesting. But I don't like a lot of the American men who's married to Filipinas here. I think a lot of them are just not my cup of tea. I don't like how, and some of them are just freaking ass paranoid. You know, I think they treat their women bad. I don't, you know, and sometimes I think, you know, they try to keep their Filipino women dumb and ignorant so that they have control over them, and I don't like that. Yeah, Filipinos like to drink. Oh, they do like to drink. Well, they like to drink, but a lot of the husbands like to drink. And I guess I'm just not a big drinker, so what do I have in common with them besides, you know? But I don't like the fact that they try to, I don't know, I just don't like it. Nay, I will try to research it for next time. Okay, Tim. They sure do. So, there are a few of them that I think are good guys. Ian says, another potential problem is many of the American expats are ex-military. There you go. I was getting ready to say something about that. It is possible that military person may have problems to go back to civilian life, especially in the Philippines. I would agree. And what I want, and look, and I'm not picking on vets. I'm not a vet. I've never served. And I have all kinds of respect for anybody who goes into the military service at all. Because I've never served. But a lot of the guys that have spent time in the military, I don't like. I don't like them. I don't know what the military did to them, but I don't like who they are. I also think a lot of the expats that are ex-military, I'll say a couple of different things. I think military people have a better, it's easier for them to live in a foreign country than somebody who's not military like myself. I think they can adapt to situations better than somebody like me. So I think that about ex-military. So I think they do better in foreign countries because of the problems they may have from America. Pat says that's true, Ian. Never served either. David, I've seen American guys do their Filipinos around. Yeah, they treat them like dogs, drag them around. They want to control. We know people now that just blows me away. I got people mad at me right now because they asked my opinion and he didn't like my opinion. He served 7 years in the Army. I think military people do better. So, yep, part of that, yes, I believe. It's impossible to get all military problems hidden or controlled. I agree with that. Oh, man. Ian says the other problem is the ex-military has mental issues due to combat. I agree. Same as Doggin James. Yeah. We know people that I know American husbands that won't let their wives get driver's license because they don't want them to learn how to drive and escape. You know, I know these people and it disgusts me. But, you know, I don't get along with a lot of ex-military people because I think they get caught in a vicious cycle and they can't break out of it. It's kind of like higher thinking has been taken away from a lot of military, not everybody, but a lot of military guys, they can't think, but in this circle here. And then when they add alcohol to it, this is all they can do, around and around and around and around. Craig says, yep, James says, that's right, Craig. So, I talk to a lot of expats, a lot of men married to Americans married to Filipinas, and we get a lot of people mad at us because they ask, hey, we're having these problems in our marriage. What do you think? Well, you ask me what I think, I'm going to tell you. But then they get mad at us because I tell them what I think. Tim says, that's why I prefer to stay home. Don't like going to the mall or crowded areas. Same here. I was never in the military, but I do have a bad case of PTSD from the coma that I survived through. So I'm not big on those crowds either. Yeah, brainwashed to follow or to give orders. Yep. Need to research that term, David? Okay, I will. The dog term? Craig, is that what you're talking about? Let me research it. Let me research it because I thought I knew what it meant. Doggin? Let me research it because I thought I knew what it meant. That's not what I thought it meant. I didn't think that meant having sex in public. I didn't know that. That is not what I thought it meant. So, Craig, that's exactly not what I didn't think that. So, you're fine. Yeah, dogging. Yeah, I didn't know that meant having sex in public and or semi-public. I didn't know that. That's not what it meant. I thought it meant belittling them and treating them more like a dog. Is kind of what I thought it meant was that. So that's our term for the day, everybody. So, but I get it. I see where a lot of a lot of guys want, and now, and I don't know how to, I mean, a lot of guys, they, so do we think a lot of guys don't have respect for the Filipino women is why they do that? Because they're from a third world country and they're beneath me? So is that why it is? They don't see them as equals? And so it's okay to belittle and dehumanize and all of this? Or is it because the guy's proud of them and going, hey, look what I can do to this girl out in public? I don't know where this one's going, James. I see on YouTube a lot of girls, shaking the flesh to make money, and a lot of their husbands don't mind that. Would that be part of this, Craig? Depends on the girl, Les says. Oh yeah, whether you want to take her out in public, you mean? Is that what you mean by that one? Well, it depends on the girl if you want to do it in public or not. Because if she's ugly, we don't want anybody to know that is that where you're going with that? I'm not saying that. I'm just assuming that's what you mean by, do we put a bag over their head or what do you do? I don't know where you're going with that one. So, God, we're going to go into the ditch and be thrown into prison before the night's over. All right. Just clarifying whether she's that type or not. I know my wife is not. My wife would pack my shit and kick me out if I tried any of that weird. But we wouldn't do that anyway. So, but obviously there's a lot of women and men that are that way from all over the world, not just the Philippines. So, I do think it's okay to be proud of your beautiful wife or your girlfriend. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want my wife to dress like a hoochie mama. That's nowhere where I would want to be. If I wanted to marry a hoochie mama, I would have married a hoochie mama. But I didn't want to marry a hoochie mama, so I didn't marry a hoochie mama. So, I don't know. It's strange. It's strange. It's strange. But what I see, where I was kind of going to this a tiny bit, was I see a lot of these men, and I know that Asian women believe that the man is the head of the household. We all like that, right? We like the fact that we're the head of the household, or otherwise we'd be married to somebody like an American woman who thinks we're their employee. But so we kind of like that. But I think there's a big difference between being the leader of the family and being the control master of the family. The wood is used is white spruce and is laminated. Okay. Well, it's pretty wood. They kind of got a honey color on the stuff at MacTan. Thank you, Tim. Yep, you're right. Don't think too much. Enjoy the moment you're in. Yeah, that's hard to do for me. And you guys all know this. If you guys know me, been around a while, you know that one's a little tough for me. But I try to enjoy the moment. But also, Craig, you got to think about enjoying the moment for me is asking questions and having thought-provoking conversations and digging deep into subjects and all of that. So for me, that's enjoying the moment. Sitting and watching the world go by, if I'm sitting on a park bench and watching the world go by, so to speak, that's not so enjoyable for me. I get bored easily, very easily. So, but I don't know. And look, the problem I have with a lot of couples that I see and the people that have asked for my advice, and look, just you guys all understand, if you want my advice, I'll give it to you. You may not like it. You may not like what I have to say when you tell me your story, but I'll tell you what I think. Is this. If it's not working for you, then do something different. James says, Greg, don't think you... James likes that. So, if the woman folk is okay with their relationship, then I don't care. I don't care otherwise. But when I hear these Filipinas, and part of the problem is this, the Filipinas, and you guys all know this, it's like the crab mentality. They all want to see who has the most expensive house, the most expensive car, who's gone on more trips. You know, the competition to be big dog Filipina is just bionically crazy. You know, it drives me crazy that these women want to compete with each other. And just like, you can take the girl out of the bar, but you can't take the bar out of the girl. Tim says, that's right. That's it. I agree. James is agreeing with you. James, but there's nothing wrong with bar girls. If you want a bar girl, then a bar girl is perfect for what you want. The problem is when you get a bar girl, and I know what you're saying, Craig, because this is where you, or Tim, is where you're going with this. If you get a bar girl and you try to make them into a princess, it's not going to work. They're a bar girl. Beth says, true, I agree. James says, Tim. So what do we say? There's a saying out there. Let me see if I can phrase it right. Men want, Dennis is right. What's better than a bar girl? What's the saying? I know Dennis knows this. Men want a whore in the bedroom and a queen in public, something like that. So, and that's where the bar girl comes in. But you're right, you can't make a bar girl into a queen. They can, so. Dennis says, no, what's better than a bar girl? 4 of them. Because Dennis has big arms. He could put 2 arm candies on each one. 3, Craig can only handle 3 at a time. James will take any you can give him. And a side of arm candy. That's right. So, but when these women are complaining and competing with each other, and then they're complaining about how bad their husbands are, I don't know. It just drives me crazy. It's like, well, either do something about it or shut up. I told a guy a while back who no longer comes on our live streams because I pissed him off, because he was messaging us behind the scenes a lot because he was having a lot of problems with his Filipina here in Florida. And he was getting advice, and I kept giving him the same damn advice, and it wasn't sinking through. My wife was talking to his wife, giving her advice, and it wasn't sinking through. And he got mad one day because she got mad because she found out that he was talking to me, blah, blah, blah. And I told him point blankly this. Bottom line is, dude, you picked her. You married her. Ain't my fault what problem you're having in your marriage. You're the one that married her. You're the one that picked her. You're the one that got her out of the bar. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. Dennis has a new color, by the way. Did you guys see that? He's a red membership now. Thank y'all for the thumbs up. Remember to donate to my $5 million beach house fund if anybody has extra $5 million laying around. James says, Dennis with the bar girl, both parties win. It's a trade. If she didn't want to go with them, she didn't have to. Yes. Wait, I met my wife while she was working at a bar. That was in 07. We got married in 16. We're still together, and she's 2 years younger. All right, well, see, that's a win-win-win. Can't make silk out of a pig's ear. Yes, that's it. That's it. And I'll be honest, that's what this guy was trying to do. He was trying to turn his Filipina into something that she's not. And that's what I meant by saying, you married her, you picked her. It's not her fault because of the way she is, because that's the way she is. It's not like she's 18 years old. She's 30 when you married her. What do you expect? I mean, she's already a person, So it's kind of funny and crazy, right? But you can't. But my dogs like pig ears, by the way, Tim. I just thought I'd throw that out. They really like to chew on those pig ears. But, it's just kind of kooky and crazy. Yeah, well, that's okay. I don't know how we got down this ditch, off into this road, but I don't know. But whatever people do, I know people, I don't know. whatever your relationship is, if it makes you both happy and you're consenting adults, then nobody has a right to say anything about it. Well, Henry was here earlier, so I don't know if HTN is still in the background or not, but he was here earlier. Maybe he said he'd be right back about 20 minutes ago. Maybe his lovely future bride, Miss Filipina Bai in the province, was messaging him, so he had to go chit chat with her, Dennis. But I don't know where they're at. He's supposedly going to the Philippines in October, I think is what he said. So, and Pat's still looking for a lovebird, and or armed candy, but he's going to try to go over in 2026, Dennis. So, Mother Hubbard, that's right. Pat says, yep, I'm going over in 2026. We'll probably go over in 2026. I'm ready, folks. Yes, Greg likes that. Yes. Yeah, Pat needs a lot of arm candy himself, is what Pat needs. James needs arm candy too. James, I know you're back there listening. So, I keep telling James, you got to fish in your own pond. So that's how we're happy. We're fishing in our pond. Spread the love, Pat. That's right. Spread the love, but not the disease. Spread love, not diseases. What is it, Lily? My dog Lily's over here grunting. Yeah, Pat will spread the love. James is willing to spread the love too. They're single men. Dennis, I got a feeling you've spread a lot of love. So, That's right, Gabe. The 10-year-old, wasn't here to keep us in line. Poor old Gabe don't like it when somebody says a bad word, So, but it's funny. Yeah, Gabe had to go and do homework or something. So, yeah, is that how we got in the ditch? Because Gabe wasn't here to keep us in line? It could be. Very well could be. I don't know. But it's all right. I don't mind. I don't mind going off in the ditch, as long as I can drive out of it eventually. But if you're happy doing what you're happy doing, then that's great. I think the Philippines can be a great place to live. It just has to fit your personality. Like we're talking about the Russian kid getting arrested. Obviously, his personality didn't fit because now he's going to do time. The young man who married the Muslim woman and went and did his thing, well, it didn't work out for him either. So there's a lot of people it doesn't work out for, a lot of people it does work out for. And if you're truly, we haven't talked to Gary in a while. Has anybody heard from Gary? I wonder how Gary's doing. We haven't seen Gary in a while. So, but I don't know. And I know there's a big question from people that I talk to. Should, James says, I'm still holding out for Michelle. Well, you're going to have to hold out a long time. They got married here in America, and they're going back next month and getting married in the Philippines. So now she's going to be doubly married. So I think your chances went doubly down. Tim says, my arm candy will be here tomorrow at his place. Pat says, I will. Dennis, need some Jack and some Vincent's. Yes. Uploaded on the road again this morning, Gary. Oh, did he? Okay. Well, I guess I have to double check his notifications because maybe something's not right. I haven't got any notifications from him in a while. So hopefully he's doing good there. Yeah, Jack and Vincent, man, Vincent was irritating. But, Jack. I want to be like Jack. But yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day, called me. What were they bugging me about? God, I can't remember. I just lost my train of thought. I got to upload some more videos. We're getting ready. You guys all know we're going to Alabama soon. I'm going to take you guys fishing, sightseeing, house hunting, all that good stuff. So I can't have any arm candy because I'm married and my wife would cut my arms off if I did. Ian says, all you kind, wonderful, highly intelligent, intellectual folks, it was good talking to you. You guys enlightened me and gave me so much knowledge that my head is gigantic now. It was a great visit and a great chat with all these superhuman beings on this live stream. It was unbelievably good experience. Thank you, and I will see you soon. That's what Ian said. I didn't say that. He said that. So, I can't tell what your emojis are, James, to be honest. What are those, kitty cats? I don't know what those are. Later, Ian. See ya. Everybody say goodbye, goodbye. Ian, take care. James, yeah, something like that. Well, I reserve the right on this channel to ad-lib anything anybody says. So, that's my right. On my channel, I get to ad-lib anything I want. Pat says, any fin caught a few fish in the morning time. I was in his channel this morning. Yep, he always catches a few good little fish there. Any fin is in the house. I am here. Any fin says, see, we were talking about you. Oh, Lily. How are you, Any fin? It's not any warmer where you're at than where we're at, so good to have you come in and say hello to everybody. Everybody say hello to everybody. We're excited. We got a lot going on. We got a lot to do this weekend. We got a lot of gardening to do this weekend. Well, Any fin saying hello to everybody, so everybody say hello to him. If you haven't subscribed to each other, please go and do that. Remember, if you're blue, you can drop a link if you want. You can drop your link to your channel if you're blue. You don't have to ask permission. You can just do it. So, but yeah, my wife is going to be planting cucumbers, peppers, Filipino green beans, a tomato plant, and something else this weekend. Everybody saying hello to Any Fin and back and forth. That's good. And I said, how you doing, Pat? Pat likes to go on Flo's live streams, don't you, Pat? Pat enjoys going on others' live streams. I think Pat is fond of Flo's live stream. I just got done work, so it's time to switch to the whiskey. Nice. Just, Pat, you should have been a politician. Well, why do you say that? What? That's curious, Tim. Why would you say that? Would I be a good politician, or would I be a normal politician, which is a crappy person? Lots of funny jokes on her channel. Yes. Well, I'm sure there is a lot of funny jokes on her channel. So, what office could I ran for? Lauren is back. Hi, everyone in the chat. Thank you for coming in. Lauren, thank you. Everybody said hello. You're Brother David. Yes. So, you're right, Brother David. Yes, I'm always right. Pat, come on. I'm always right. Any Fin, hello to you. So everybody just keep saying hello to each other, growing each other's channels, helping us all grow. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Help me grow. Remember, I'm still e-begging for a beach house in Florida. I only need $5 million more and I'll meet my goal. So nice to see you again, amazing friends. Thank you for being here. Pat says, welcome in, Lauren. You guys remember, you can drop a link to your channel if you want, if you're blue. Just feel free to do it. I don't mind. So yeah, we got a lot going on. We do. We got a lot going on. Somebody saying hello to each other. That's good, 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 good. Would I be a good politician, or would I be a bad politician? Or would I just be a normal politician? Are you saying I should be a politician because I'm full of hot air? Because I can run and talk about any subject matter there is? That I can spit bullshit out left and right? Is that what you're saying, Tim? I think Tim is saying that I can spit bullshit out left and right. Maybe I should have been a politician. I'd probably have a little bit more money than I do now. Because, if you're a politician in America, you can become really rich. Even if you only make $10 a year, you can still make millions of dollars. So that's the good thing about that. The Gabe is back. Uh-oh, Tim. As soon as I come on here, you say bull poop. Uh-oh, Gabe, really, really? Well, we were talking about you earlier, Gabe. We were talking about you earlier. I got a feeling, Gabe, you're going to hear a whole lot worse words than that in your lifetime. So you're going to hear a whole lot worse things, probably said by your teachers and schoolmates. Pat saying, hey to you, Gabe. Why? Run for dog catcher? Well, here it's not a elected position. It's actually you get hired by the city to collect dogs. What happened? No, Nisha was here earlier. She stopped in. She was busy studying dentist and doing well in school, but she came in earlier and said hi to everybody. Lauren, are you going to run for politics, my friend? Nah, I'm too old. Got to pick up my daughter at the station, Craig says. Oh, Gabe, I'm going to show this. Gabe says, my mom cusses every day. Hi, Dennis, Greg. Hi, Lauren. The Gabe, hello, hello. You better be careful, Gabe. They're going to start asking you if your mama's good looking or not. I just don't. That's all right. You don't have to. Gabe, welcome back. Trust me, I hear a bunch. See, I believe it. I believe it. I wouldn't run for politician because I would probably not get elected because I would tell everybody what I really thought. And then that would, alienate 99% of the population. Trust me, I hear a bunch. Don't harass my mother. Nobody's harassing your mama. Hi, Tim from Gabe. My younger brother goes to the Philippines this month. So does he got a woman already in the Philippines? Or is he going to go to the sightseeing tour in the Philippines? I'm just saying, Gabe says, that's all right. I was just saying. You said your mama cusses a lot, so I figured, some of these men in here might go, well, I wonder what Gabe's mom is. Woohoo. So, but Pat, so what's going on with your brother in the Philippines? Well, Gabe, I'm a big believer in this. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. That's perfectly okay. It's, cussing's not a sign of intellect. I'll tell you that. If all you can do is cuss, that means you're not smart enough to think of other words. She's a woman. Well, of course, she's your mom, so of course she's a woman. Mamas are women. Women are mamas. There's no other. How's your son, Pat? Gabe is asking. Lauren says, I subscribe to you, Craig. Craig's a good channel. He's a good friend from Australia. He will appreciate that very much. You are the youngest by far. Yes, you are. I think my dogs are even older than you, my friend. So, but that's good, Pat. I'm glad your brother's getting ready to go. Is he going to the same part of the Philippines that you like to go to, or is he going to a different part of the Philippines? We'd really like to go on another cruise, but it's just not going to happen. Not this year anyway. We don't have any money. And we got to go to Alabama, and hang out. So My dogs are growling at me, and they're like, Lauren says, the game subbed here. That's right. Subscribe to their channel there. Gabe, everybody subscribe to each other. Gabe says, well, I'll be back like in 20 or 30. Okay, bye, Gabe. Oh, Gabe. Make sure you do your chores tonight, Gabe. I don't want to hear about you not doing your chores. So, Lauren, what's going on in your part of the world? How are you? Hawkbird, what's the weekend plan, sir? Busy weekend. Tomorrow, Saturday, it's supposed to be a little bit warmer. Sunday, it's supposed to be in the low 80s. We have to go to Lowe's, buy some concrete mix and 2x4s and rabbit fence because we're extending my dirty kitchen. And then my wife is going to do a whole lot of gardening. She's got cucumbers and bell peppers and hot peppers and tomato plants to get out in the yard. And I think that's it. And we'll probably go shopping. And I always try to take my wife out to eat on the weekends. Doing great, and Lauren says, great. I don't know where we're going to go eat at, though. We haven't decided. Les says, see you guys later. Have a good weekend. Good live streaming. Well, thank you, and thank you for being here, and thank you for coming back. You know, we appreciate your input and your knowledge, Les, so thank you for that. Any movies? No, you know, I haven't seen that there's any movies out on the movie land that's worth watching. Pat saying take care, but thank you for giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to everybody. So we try to go and eat on the weekends. I try to give my wife, you know, a little bit of a date. I don't know where we're going to eat yet, but we'll find somewhere. Les says thank you, and thank you, Pat. Absolutely. You're welcome. Oh, Lily. But we got to plant a whole bunch of vegetables in our raised beds and go to the wall. Nah, Chipotle, not really our thing, to be honest. You have any other suggestions? Ren's Dairy USA, hi-hos, new friend here. Well, thank you for coming in. Dairy, we appreciate you. We thank you for the thumbs up and subscribing and liking. We got a lot of great channels in this live stream. So if you want to subscribe, like, and share to each other, they will get back to you. Renz is my dear friend. Lauren says, nice. Thank you for bringing them over. We appreciate that. We do. We really appreciate you bringing new people to our channel. And we will get back to you guys that sub to us that are new. I usually wait 24 hours to 48 hours before I go and sub because I want it to stick to your channels. I'll go to your channel, I'll watch a video, I'll like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff, but I wait a little bit to let it sit. We need to watch some news. Also, lots of things. Yeah, we love the news. Exciting things. Stock market's great. The tariffs are great. I'm loving the way the economy's going. I'm very excited for the future of America. I'm very excited for the workforce of America. I really am. I think it's a great time to be an American. I think it's a great time to plan a future in America. Let's see. Thanks, Lauren. We need to watch some news. Okay. Pat says, do you play the guitar, Lauren? Yes. Welcome in, Renz. I have a ukulele, which wish I knew how to play, but I don't. So, but I'm very excited about the world that we live in. Very excited, very happy. They're going to be bringing back shipbuilding industries, in the shrimping industry, a lot of good things happening. Yes, I did, Pat, which is not very good as a professional. Oh, I see. I have no musical talent whatsoever. So anything you have is way better than I have. No musical talent whatsoever. I think you wake up early on Sundays to enjoy some lonely time with coffee and yourself. No, not really, to be honest. When the weather's really nice, I get up. My wife is working right now. She doesn't get off until midnight. So we're up until usually 2 or 3 in the morning. But a lot of times when the weather is nice, I will get up early, like at 7. I go outside and sit in my back patio area, and I do live streams early in the morning. But I get a lot of, and that's every day, I get a lot of peace and quiet time. Lauren says, just practice. Well, my problem is I don't know enough on how to practice. So I haven't even got to that stage where I can practice. Yep, you got a guitar and you like to learn how to play. So yeah, but I get a lot of quiet time. I do a lot of reading. I do some hobby stuff. I do a lot of fishing. So my wife works and I don't because I'm old and worthless and nobody would hire an old guy like me. So I just hang out a lot. So I seem to have a lot of free time on my hands. Yeah, normally you'd be right. For most people who have a job and have to work, their 2 days off is when they unwind. I never get wound up because I don't work. Tim says, the only thing I can play is videos. Woohoo! Bryn says, Lauren, I love the way you're playing your guitar and even the way you're singing songs. You have a great vocal. Nice. That's good. I promise you, I can't sing. And I know this. So even as much as I would like to be musical, I am not. Go, Pat, push that. Yes, many people only watch TV news. Do you get time? I watch TV. I watch the news. I watch documentaries. I like science and technology, history. I like to learn. I'm somebody that learns. I like to read books. You name it, I'm always trying to learn something. Pat says, I will do it, Lauren. So yeah, that's what I do. I do a little bit of everything. I love to fish. But I'm a big historian. I like science and I'm a little bit of a sci-fi buff, not huge. I like true crime and documentaries and human behavior. You name it, I don't know, I like pretty much everything. Yep, we take long trips. We're going to be driving in a few weeks to about 12 hours from our house. So, yep, we do that. Lauren says, thank you for the compliments. It made me smile. Made me smile. You make me smile. My smile. Smiles are free. Remember the saying? Smiles are free. But we do a lot of good stuff. We have a lot of fun in life. I try to keep my wife entertained. We do take a lot of day trips, and when the weather's nice, we run to different areas and go to malls and go shopping and go to zoos and parks. So when my wife is not working and she has time off, I do try to find her stuff to do versus just staying at home. Well, sometimes not working is good, but I will tell you, I miss working. I love I was a college professor, and I loved my career. So I'm one of the few people that you might hear that tells you that they wish they could still work, even though I'm retired now, but I would love to still have my career. So I'm kind of one of those ones, yeah, it's nice, but retirement is not all it's cracked up to be. So it's better to have a serious purpose in your life, is what I think and believe. And that's why I use this YouTube platform to counsel, to advise, to teach, to educate, and to learn myself. So I use YouTube as my classroom, both as a student and as a teacher, is what I do. And I enjoy it. I like getting to know people, learning what's going on in people's worlds, asking questions and answering questions. Take care. Yeah, Tim, we're hanging up here in a couple minutes ourselves, Tim. We're going to end this at 9 o'clock, which is about 4 minutes away. So we appreciate everybody coming in, Tim. Thank you for your help and support. Bird says, you would have been a great teacher. I was. Hey, Hawk. I was a great teacher. Not would have been, because I was a college professor for 25 years. I was a great teacher. All right, now, I was a great teacher. And I still am. Not that I could have been. I could have been a great astronaut if I wasn't skinny. I mean, if I was skinny and smart. But, I was a good teacher, but I could have been a great astronaut. So, that's excellent. But we appreciate everybody coming in. Remember, you got to give support to each other on YouTube. Please come back to our channel. We will go to your channels. Our other people will check you guys out and follow, like, and subscribe. So Ren says, amazing. Pat, welcome, Brother David. Pat says, so we really do appreciate all these great people we learn from. And don't think that my channel is one-sided. Without you guys, I would be lacking knowledge. And I love knowledge, so we appreciate how much all of you guys contribute to our channel and the success of our channel. So thank you all for being here. But I'm going to wind this down, get some things done, because we are going to have a busy weekend this weekend, a lot of labor to do. So Pat says this is an excellent channel. Well, thank you for that, Pat. I appreciate that. Yeah, Hawk, I do live when it's not quite ready yet, but in a couple of weeks, I'll start doing morning live streams also. We're going to go down to the Gulf of America in a couple of weeks where it's warmer, and I will probably get up and do some live streams from the Gulf of Mexico early in the morning. But when the weather's nice and I can sit outside in my backyard and not be cold, I do live streams in the morning. So yes, I do them. Just hit the alert bell so that you know when things are coming on. But we do live streams in the evenings. My wife does them after midnight on the weekends and during the day sometimes. So we kind of do them all over this. Pat says, you're my mentor, Brother David. Well, thank you for that. I hope as a mentor, I'm doing you justice. I hope that I'm not a disappointment for anybody. Ren says, I'm glad to meet you all. Actually, I'm new in YouTube. Well, you keep coming back, and when you have questions, we will be happy to answer them about YouTube. We will give you, all of us, will give you our best advice for you to take and learn and build upon. Craig says, bye, David. All 3K round trip representative soccer match at 3 p.m. Cheers. All right. Craig, we appreciate you. It's good to see you again. I was a little worried about you. So I'm glad that you've just been busy. But Craig, as always, we enjoy having you back with us. How do you reduce work tension and work pressure? Look, one simple way. Okay, I want you to listen to me. Work is not who you are. It's something that you do. Craig says quit. Yeah, you could quit. But remember, work is something you do to make money, to make the other side of your life better. You are not your job. Your job is there to support your personal life. That's how you reduce this. You don't take it personal. You go to work, you make the money, you go home, you spend that money to enjoy your life. You separate the two. Work is not who you are. It's something that you do, all right? That's how you reduce that tension. But I like Craig's point. If you hate your job, get a different one. And I agree with Craig on this. If you truly are not happy, your job should be to find another job. Life is too short to work in misery. It's too short. Figure out what your heart is telling you to do. What gets you excited every day that would get you excited to do. I know a lot of guys that are firefighters. Some hate it, some love it. Ren saying, awesome, thank you for that. And sometimes people take the negative, those there are bad. Yeah, bad and good with everything. No sleep, well, then you got to prioritize that. If you're not getting enough sleep in your job, maybe it's not the right job for you. And that's okay. It's okay to say, I took a job and it's not working out. It's okay to want a better job. It's okay to want better pay. It's okay to want better hours, better benefits. It's okay. Don't make yourself miserable for $1. Money is not worth misery. I'm just telling you, don't be miserable, be happy. All right, folks, it's 9 o'clock. We appreciate everybody. Please come back and join us. Make sure you hit that alert bell, like, subscribe, and share to each other, and we appreciate you. Pat, Hawk, Tim, everybody, Dennis, everybody in the background. We appreciate all y'all. Take care, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Bird. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being here.